So this is going to be a demonstration for how to get it started with your drawings on the Illustrator program. So the very first thing you're going to do is just click on the classroom that we're in. Look at your resource tab. I have everybody's drawings on the computer. This is actually the most best way of getting you guys your images. I apologize if you don't really want to show your work to the other students in the class, but it did take way too long for me to go by each computer to drop your files off. So part of the reason why like a lot of you didn't get started last class is because I was still scanning pictures um, and also I was like trying to transfer pictures to people. So in the future though, this is going to be the way that I'm going to transfer you guys your images or things that you need to work on for your projects. It's the most efficient way, but again, it's going to just put your work out there. But I mean, you guys are more likely comfortable with it. But all you're going to do is just click on the image. So just make sure to double check it's your image. Most of these files I just put your first name, unless if you have like we have two people with the same names. But I think this class is there wasn't any really double people. But you're gonna click on this. Click on open in new window, and then when you click on open in new window, it's gonna open the window again, and you're gonna have an option to click on the downloads. So when you click on the downloads, it's gonna show up in your downloads folder. So you look down here. This is where they're showing up. It may show up here too if you're using Safari. But all you're gonna do is just go to the Finder, click on Downloads, and your files should show up in that Downloads folder. So the most recent things on the bottom for my computer. Again, it may be a little bit differently for yours, but just for your file. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna have the file open. And also, I want you guys to create a new folder on the computer. So you're gonna right-click on the desktop here, and just move things to the sides if you can't see your desktop, and just put your first last name and do 4A, just so you know what class it is. I was doing a demonstration before, but I didn't. I kind of messed up on some of the stuff, so just pay attention to like what's in here. So you're gonna double click on here. You're gonna have your folder open, your downloads folder, and all you're gonna do is just drag the images. So you always want to keep all of your images, your files, anything that you do in that folder that you've created. You want to leave it on your desktop or anywhere else, and obviously you shouldn't be messing with other people's work. So yeah, so you're gonna have your image here. I'm actually gonna put another picture here just because I'm actually gonna use one of my own drawings as an example for how to do it in Illustrator. So at that point now you don't really need uh, the Google Classroom. But next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna click on Finder, Applications, and open up the Adobe Illustrator. So it's the one that looks like an orange and brown. This is AI. Just double click it to open it. You have like a little menu that'll load it up. If this is the first time opening it today, and you're gonna have it open up right here. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna click on Create New. Well, there might be a Create New button in the middle, and you're gonna Create New. And what we'll do is we're going to click on print and then create a letter. So it's just basically how we started off with your documents before. And then after you create that, then all you're going to do is just put this to the side. And you can close that. You don't really need it now. And all you're going to do is just click and drag the image that you worked on onto the white space. So I'm just going to drag it here. Now, some of you may have it flipped in the other direction, so you can always manipulate the actual size of the picture. So if you hold the Shift key and you drag it up and down, this will make it bigger or smaller. If you can, try to fill up all that white space. If not, then just do as best as you can. You can also rotate the picture as well. So if you hold the Shift key, you rotate it, it'll rotate other ways as well. Some of your pictures that I scanned though, it may be the wrong way just because I had to scan them all real quickly. So you may have to rotate it and flip it completely around or however you need it. And also, if you need to change like the white space on here, you're gonna click on this one that says Artboard, and you can actually manipulate the artboard as well. All right, but the most important thing though is just make sure the drawing that you want to use, because basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna do like a tracing of the picture. just make sure it's like overlapping the white space that you're working on. But you can always like drag and move those pictures around. So I'm actually gonna zoom in on this one picture here, and zooming is gonna be Command minus and Command plus. Command plus is gonna zoom in, Command minus is gonna zoom out, and essentially we're just gonna be working on, you're just gonna be essentially tracing your logo design. So a couple of different ways you can do your drawings. The most straightforward way is click on this paintbrush tool, and just literally with the paintbrush tool, all you're gonna do is just draw those lines. Now you can change the sizes of the stroke. So if I want to make it a little bit smaller, I can make it a little bit smaller. I don't know if this is really having an effect on it. I don't think, yeah, it's not really having an effect. But you can also change these too. So these are like the actual brushes, and these, this way you can actually just literally just draw what the logo is. So this is probably like the most straightforward way of drawing. And the nice thing about Illustrator is it kind of auto corrects the lines that you make, so it makes it a little bit more. It smooths out the lines basically that you create. So that's one way to trace your drawing. Another way to is you can use this pen tool here. Oh, this is a curvature tool. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so there's like a pencil here. This will help you to make lines as well. This one's a little bit harder to use, or it's not that bad. So I'm just clicking and dragging and moving the lines around. This is going to be primarily like the tool that we're going to use later to do your drawings on. It looks like they made the program. It looks like they just made this tool a lot easier on this program. But I'm just going to get rid of those lines. I'm just hitting the delete key to delete it. So like the way you can delete lines is you would click on the selection tool and then click on the line you're working on. You can delete it. Another ways too is you can just literally erase it and now erase it as well. So there's a couple ways to get rid of those lines. Other ways too, like if you have like a circle, you can use like these different shape tools, and you literally can just make like a circle here. But again, it depends on like what's what shapes you're drawing. But essentially though, you're just tracing the drawing that you made. So that's all you're doing. So just use whatever method's easiest for you. I'm going to show you like the best method on how to trace your drawings. When we work on our first project, we're going to actually revisit this project again, but we're actually going to take a little bit more time planning the drawings. I'm going to show you the proper way of tracing on the computers, and just kind of go over things a little bit more slower and more detail. But otherwise, though, again, this is related to your SLO test. So again, this is prior knowledge of. This is like prior knowledge. I'm looking at, seeing what what you can discover on your own with this program. All right, so let's just say like I finished my drawing. After you finish your drawing, then you don't really need the sketch anymore. So you can actually click on the sketch again. This is a selection tool, so this allows you to kind of like select certain things. And all I'm gonna do is just delete it. So this is like essentially what I traced on the computer. And if you want to color the drawings, okay, the way you're going to do that is you're going to go to your layers window here. And I would do coloring at the very end after you've done your tracing. And then you can, everything's going to be separated in the layer. So this layer here is going to be my outline layer. And I'm actually going to lock this layer. So once you lock the layer, you can't make any changes to it. So it's not even letting me draw on it. I can't move it. So you want to lock it just so like things don't get clicked on by accident. This program is very easy to click on things when you don't have it locked. So you're gonna lock this layer. You're gonna create a new layer. So I actually double clicked on here and title it outline. This one I'm gonna title it color. And the color layer, you want to actually put it on the bottom. So you just click and drag it to the very bottom. So everything you add is going to always be on the top. And essentially with the coloring, there's a couple different ways you can color, but again, I feel like the paintbrush is probably the easiest way. You can, click on the fill. Oops. You actually want to flip this around. So you want to make sure the stroke is red, and then this. I don't think this is going to have an effect. This is going to allow you to color. So, if you need to make the brushes bigger, you can. If you need to make it smaller. You can do that too. That's just a way you can make it. Oh, okay. You can use these tab keys. This is like the same tab keys in Photoshop. This will make your brush bigger. This will make it smaller. I kind of like this though. They made Illustrator a lot more user friendly than before. It used to be harder to use this program to draw things. But, essentially I'm just tracing just coloring it in. So that's the nice thing about like the different layers is, you don't have to worry about making sure it's like between the lines. If some of your lines are thick enough, then you can just go over it a little bit and it'll be fine. But again, I'm going to show you a bit more of an efficient way to color than this. Again, this is kind of just seeing like what you guys know, and I'm not going to be really going too hard on the. Again, if you want to change your colors, you just double click on here. You can change the colors as well. I'm not going to grade too heavily on how well your projects turn out. I'm just I'm just looking for just participation that you're trying your best. All right.